discuss the nitrogen cycle. Okay, check if I can find a better space to write. Okay, यहाँ पे कर लेते हैं nitrogen cycle. Okay, how much nitrogen is present in atmosphere? 78%, but that nitrogen is not in use most of the time, right? So this, okay, 78% of nitrogen is of no use. Even human are taking in it during inhaling or inspiration, but still it's not part of their body, right? Similarly, plants are also taking in, like, cannot take this nitrogen, cannot use up this nitrogen. So there are two ways, two simple ways by which plants can use it, and both ways are basically named similar, which is called as nitrification. So nitrification is done in two ways. One is through lightning. Either the lightning can fix this nitrogen into nitrate, okay, N2 to NO3, okay, and this nitrate ion is taken up by the plant. Or the second thing is there are yes, or nitrogen is also, oh sorry, there are bacteria present in the leguminous roots. I guess we have discussed this. No? Okay. So legumes are like beans, peas. These are like legumes. So they're present in the root of legumes. What do they do? They convert nitrogen into nitrate. Okay? And this nitrate is then taken up by plant in the form of nitrate by active transport and convert these nitrate into chapter number 6, amino acid. Amino acids, and these amino acids make proteins, right? So this is the one method. That first, no, 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 no. Deamination is not here. Wait till here. Okay. So it's taken up by the plant, and plant convert them into protein. Okay. After this, this protein is eaten by animals, right? Like animals eat protein. We eat beans. We eat peas. We need eat the legumes. Okay, we eat the like pulses. Those also have. So animals convert the amino acids into ammonia, which is deamination. That happens in the liver, right? Where the no, 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 animals. Protein is eaten by animal. The plants are eaten by animals. Okay. Now this ammonia can also be converted into nitrate. Okay. Okay. This is the method how like nitrogen is converted into nitrate, taken up by plant, produce ammonia, become part of this. Now, how this nitrate can, like nitrogen, be recycled in the environment? Now, still now we have heard that nitrate is recycled, but how is nitrogen recycled? So there are another type of bacteria, uh, or you can say there is another process called as denitrification. So in denitrification, this nitrate convert back into nitrogen. This process would be known as denitrification. Okay, nitrification, denitrification. Deamination is a separate process. Okay, denitrification means nitrate into nitrogen. Okay, and deamination is the conversion of amino acid into urea or whatever. and that is again taken up by plant, and nitrate are again fixed from ammonia, which is nitrification again. So there are two nitrifications. One is nitrogen fix. Is the other word for this is nitrogen fixation as well. Here, only here, when nitrates convert back into nitrogen. Okay, there is only one way to convert nitrate into nitrogen. That is denitrification. The other methods are there to convert nitrogen into different forms like ammonia, nitrate. Okay. Yes, nitrogen to nitrate. Okay. Okay, let's start then. So the question number one is really uncommon. One and two, these are really uncommon nowadays. But let's discuss it. Oh, I asked you in the start, are there only 13 questions? Okay, send me 20 after 21. Because these were like the older one, the 2018. I want the recent ones. But we can discuss it. We will only discuss it. We'll not go into the detail. Hmm. Okay, shall we start? Okay. Okay. Let's move to this question which we were discussing. Where is the question? Okay. So how many producers are there? How many consumers are there? How many herbivores, carnivores, and food chain? Okay. So there is only one producer. How many consumers are there? There are so many consumers. Count them. There are six consumers. One, two, three, four, five, six. How many carnivores? One, two, and three. Which eat animals, plants. Yes. So carnivores are three. How many herbivores are there? Three, which are directly feeding on plant. These are herbivores. Eat other animals. Yes, small fishes and kingfisher. Hmm. We can easily get it from the food chain. Those who are directly eating plant are herbivores. Those who are eating those herbivores are carnivores. Hmm. Okay, how many food chains are there? One food chain starts with tadpole, plant and then tadpole. Second food chain, plant and water beetle. Third food chain, plant and snail. So there are three food chains. Draw a labeled diagram of biomass for one food chain from the web. Choose an okay. Yes. Tadpole, water beetle and snail. The carnivores three, small fish, frog and kingfisher. Okay. Select any one food chain. Let's select one food chain. Which food chain do you want to select? Okay. Yes. Let's choose this. Okay. Let's make a biomass diagram for this one. Which would be more and which would be less? Water plant would be more. Wait, we have to start from the primary level. Producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. Okay? Kingfisher would be like the single one, feeding on small fishes. Okay, then hmm, tadpoles. How many tadpoles would be there? More or less? Okay, let's make less. Okay, then fish. Okay, okay. Or you can also name that like this one is water plant, this one is tadpole, small fish, kingfisher. Okay, you can also name them. Next one is the pond may get polluted by fertilizers. How the pollution might affect the population of frogs in the pond. Okay, it's referring to direct, you can say fertilizers. Whenever there is a word of fertilizers, okay, you need to jump to the topic eutrophication. Okay, fertilizer is directly like this topic is linked to eutrophication. Okay, so number one, the nutrients increases in or the nitrogen increases in the pond, due to which nitrogen basically it's like there are more nutrients, let's say. Okay, that would increase the algal growth. We called it algal bloom. Algal bloom means there is extensive growth of algae. Yes, due to more algal bloom, or you can say more production of plants or more growth of plants, what would happen? There would be less, okay, less oxygen available. Moreover, the decomposers also increases, which makes or which consume oxygen and makes carbon dioxide. So lesser oxygen is available to the tadpoles, because tadpoles, they they need water for, like, frog need water for fertilization. This is one point. Frog need water for fertilization. So if their babies are not surviving in water, definitely the population would decrease. Okay, the population would decrease. Or the other way, in the other way, you can also say that if there is more growth, maybe there would be more food for frogs. They would, like, they can grow more. There can be another way of writing this answer as well. You can write in either way, whether it is beneficial or not, whether the population will increase or decrease. I am focusing on decrease because later on you have to tell about the decrease as well. So the most questions include the decreasing part, not the increasing part. Okay. Now here we have a power station which burns coal, okay, and it has some effect, harmful effect on the environment. Okay, describe and explain the possible harmful effects of human activity on the environment by each of the location. Okay, let's say we have agricultural lands, we have power station, and we have town. Okay, what are the harmful effects of human activity? Hmm. 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 So it directly produces carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas, leads to global warming, right? Okay. Then what else can be there? Okay. Hmm. Okay. I'm telling you. First of all, let's talk about the first one. The very first one is the agricultural land. So in agricultural land, we use pesticides, we use insecticides, we use fertilizers. Okay. So just now we have discussed that fertilizers, when they get washed off in the lake or in the sea or in the ocean, they cause the algal bloom, which is eutrophication, and there would be more growth of organisms. Ultimately, the land would be, or the aquatic body would be, like, suffer. There would be more decomposer, less oxygen available. So many things can be written. Okay. Then there is a power station. Power station is consuming coal. Coal produce The burning of coal would produce carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas, leads to global warming. Okay. Okay. Let's move to town. Okay, this coal also, or the fuel that we are using, they may contain. Let's move to town. Okay, in town we have vehicles. Vehicles burn what? Fossil fuel. Okay, fossil fuel can produce carbon dioxide. Fossil fuel can produce sulfur dioxide. Fossil fuel can produce nitrogen dioxide. So these can contribute to acid rain. So this is how you write the harmful effects for each. Okay, the agricultural land and the power station, I guess I've given both. Okay, next one. Suggest ways in which people in the town could make changes to their activities in order to reduce the harmful effect. No, no, no. They're talking about the general activity. General. Hmm. Okay, wait. Now it's done. Okay, yes, we can. Hmm, hmm, hmm. Yes, but that is not related to pesticide. Hmm. With renewable energy resource now. With renewable energy resource, let's just rephrase, like put it in one word. Instead of using fossil fuel, they can switch to renewable energy resource. The second thing we were talking about is the catalytic converter. That was a topic of chemistry as well, right? Okay, then there is a 3R rule: reduce, reuse, recycle. Less use of plastics. I guess four are enough. Or if you want to write more, we can give more ideas. 3R's is reuse, reduce, recycle. Okay, next question. Explain how the energy from sun can eventually be used as active transport for the alimentary canal. Let's start from sun and then move to the digestive system. Okay? Okay? Okay. Yes, yes, yes. How the energy is transferred to us and that energy is used for active transport. Okay. Sunlight is absorbed by plants for photosynthesis. What is produced as photosynthesis? Produces glucose, but store glucose and store it as starch. Glycogen is stored by animals, not by plants. Okay, starch. Starch is eaten by starch is eaten up. Let's say, let's give a general term by animals. You can write humans as well. You can write animals as well. Okay, whoever eat it. Animals. Okay. After starch is eaten, starch is digested. Digested means broken down. Broken down into what? Into glucose. Into glucose by what? By which enzyme? Amylase. Okay. Then the next point would be this glucose is absorbed in the blood by villi. Is it so? Villi. And now it goes to your cells and helps in aerobic respiration, right? Produces energy for active transport. Okay? Which is, here is written, which is used over here, which then absorb nutrients from lower concentration to higher concentration, right? This is active transport. Done. Okay. So the next question is, solar energy is increasingly being used to replace fossil fuel. Okay, we know it very well nowadays. It's quite in use. Explain the disadvantages of continuing to use fossil fuel. Like, disadvantages of using fossil fuel. So focus on fossil fuel. Now fossil fuel releases three things that we have already discussed: carbon dioxide, sulfur oxides, and nitrogen oxides. Okay, how would you explain this? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yes. So these two contribute to acid rain. So it's a greenhouse gas. Okay. They are not non-renewable. Good. Okay. Describe the possible harmful effect of human activity on the tropical rainforest. Okay. We are cutting down the forest. So what could be the possible effect of this cutting down of trees? Okay. What happened because of deforestation? Exactly. Hmm. Soil erosion. Okay. And flooding. Okay. What else? Point number one. Okay. Mm, okay, we are saying the soil is washed off. This is enough. Okay, let's write. Because you are cutting the trees, you are disturbing the natural habitat of birds or animals. Exactly. Natural habitat disturbed for wildlife or disturbed. Okay. Number three. Now the natural habitat is disturbed. It means the biodiversity decreases since you are cutting both animals and affecting plants. Oh, animals and plants both. Biodiversity decreases. Okay. The next could be, um, because there are no trees, there can be like more carbon dioxide. Again, it's a greenhouse gas. Global warming, right? Number five, if there are no trees, it would lead to less rainfall. desertification. Let's talk about acid rain. Uh, okay, it's not direct, but yes, it can be produced. Okay, for the very like I have a point. The food chain would be disturbed. Like if there are no trees, how would primary consumer or secondary consumer survive? And seven, yes, we can talk about sulfur. Okay. Okay. Next one is the sun is the principal source of energy in the ecosystem. Explain the outflow of energy in the ecosystem, such as tropical rainforest. So first of all, you'll talk about photosynthesis. Then you'll talk about the primary consumers which feed on those, right? Because they're part of your food chain now. This one? Okay. Okay. Question is outline the flow of energy. So energy is coming from sun and moving to the consumers, right? Okay. In your answer, you should make reference to the named levels in food web. So I'm giving you the name like what is first trophic level, what is second trophic level, or third trophic level. Hmm. So let's say, hmm, let's say this is a food web. You need to explain this food web, how the energy is transferring. So we'll start from sun, right? We need to, yes, 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 because the ultimate or the principal source is sun. Okay, so these are called as trophic levels. Okay, the next question a graph is given in which there is a change in, yes. Hmm. Because first of all sun, then the energy is transferred to the first trophic level, secondary trophic level, yeah, third trophic level, whatever levels are there. Okay. The next question is the, okay, the pollution of air and water may result from human activity. This pollution can lead to many harmful effects. Okay, one is given here. The carbon dioxide concentration decreases, oxide of nitrogen decreases, and sulfur dioxide decreases. Changes of release of gases in the air during the production of electricity. Okay, this much amount is released during the production of electricity. So overall, it's decreasing, but why? Okay, what you need to describe the data. So description mean you have to start from 1990 and until like 2008. Like what are the values, initial values, the final values. Okay, give the readings. In description, you have to give the values from the graph. Okay. During this 18 years, the total amount of energy produced each year by 32 countries includes suggest one change in the process used by these countries to produce electricity that may account for the trend shown in graph. So what do you think, why these gases are decreasing? Maybe they are using some, yes, maybe they are using some non-renewable, sorry, some renewable source, or the cutting down of fossil fuel, reduction in the use of fossil fuel. Okay. Pollution by air by each of these gases named in the graph lead to harmful effects. Suggest and explain the positive effect on ecosystem. Okay, let me tell you the positive effect. If there is more carbon dioxide, because such questions would come. If there is more carbon dioxide, there would be more photosynthesis. More photosynthesis mean more plant growth, more yield, or more food, right? So this can be the advantage. It's a 3 mark question. Okay. Okay. Again, a nitrogen cycle is here. Okay, but before that, the scientists who carried out the surveys suggest that the fish population might recover if conservation actions are taken. Okay, so it's called as quota system. What is this? Hmm. Hmm. Bigger net size. Net size. Okay, net size monitoring. What is your third way? Let's focus on fishing. Where's the question? Because it's related to fishing. Hmm. Okay. Correct. So there should be closed system. There should be proper net size. The monitoring of these. Okay. Outlet. Sorry. Photo. Quota. Yeah. Reduction in the, like, you make some laws according to which you can fish or you can hunt a certain amount of like number of animals. Okay. What was I saying? Okay. Nitrogen cycle. Now you have done it in both ways. They are nitrifying bacteria. They are denitrifying bacteria. Hmm. It's, so is it of 7 marks? Okay. So let's write. Number one is nitrogen fixation. Where are these bacteria present? In the legumes. Then nitrification. Then denitrification. And then the decomposers. So you can write 2 points for each. Like in nitrogen fixation, the atmospheric nitrogen is converted into like ammonium or something else. Nitrification means the nitrogen is fixing into nitrates by bacteria. Denitrification, these nitrates are then broken down by bacteria into nitrogen. And decomposers also decompose the nitrates to nitrogen, and like, or organic compounds, like they can also break proteins to release the nitrates when they feed on the dead body. So yes, the organisms are made up of proteins. So definitely protein is going to be broken down by the decomposers. So bacteria is one of the decomposer as well. Okay. Okay. guess you'll be able to do this. 10th one, how energy, okay, we have already done this, that how is energy supplied by sun to the muscles of lion when it runs. So we have done it for alimentary canal. You, in the last step, you can like use it for the power, like muscular contraction and relaxation. Yes, the last point would be change only. Explain why human communities now consider it important to recycle materials. In 1931, the scientist was pouring the powder. Okay, let's do this. Though it is not related to PTC. Okay, let's see. So there is a chemical called PTC. A small amount of this powder accidentally blew into the air, and um, it is received by some scientists who feel a bitter taste in mouth. Okay, so chemicals similar to PTC with a bitter taste are produced by some plants to prevent them from being eaten. So it's a natural process by plants. Animals that only eat plant have fewer genes that enable them to detect this animal, or sorry, this chemical that tastes bitter than animals who that eat both plants and animals. So we are saying that herbivores have lesser detection as compared to the omnivores. State the trophic level of plants in the food web. It's the food web. They are producer, but okay. State the term used for animals that eat only plants. Okay. Suggest why animals that only eat plants have fewer genes that enable them to detect chemical that taste better than animal that produce that eat both animal and plant. What could be the reason of having fewer genes? Because they're feeding only on animals or plants, so there is lesser mutation in them. Okay, so herbivores have only one thing to eat, that is plant. Is it so? Okay. While the omnivores have the tendency to eat both, right? So they are asking that herbivores have lesser genes to detect that bitter taste as compared to omnivores. So what can be the reason behind it? Exactly. They're feeding only on. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, what other thing can be written? So there can be like mutation or anything like that. Hmm. Uh, Mutation is the better thing. Write mutation, due to mutation or due to natural selection. You can write that. Because those animals who can detect, they can die, right? They won't eat it again. If the herbivores are going to detect it, they won't eat that plant, but they need to eat plants. So there is an adaptation that with passage of time they're losing that ability. So yes, it can be natural selection, it can be mutation. Okay, because they need to feed on plant, they have nothing else, while omnivores have a choice of feeding on animals instead of those plants. Okay. Okay, shall we move to this question? Okay, a sycamore is a producer that for many food chains in the forest ecosystem. What is a food chain and what is a producer? What is meant by producer and food chain? Producer is something which taking energy directly from sun, right? And putting that energy or converting the sunlight energy into chemical energy by photosynthesis. Is the definition of photosynthesis, that light energy is converted into chemical. Yes, yes, you can. Making on food by photosynthesis. So mention this word photosynthesis. This is important word. Yes, you can. You can. Okay, what is a food chain? Transfer of energy. Good. Okay. Next one is there are two pyramids given. One is for biomass and one is for the number. So, what is the difference between these two pyramids? So, biomass has a wider base as compared to the pyramid of numbers. Okay. So, this is a general shape. Okay. So, then explain this one. So, if we talk about the pyramid of number, there is only one tree on which many insects are feeding. While if we talk about the biomass of like pyramid of biomass, there is more more food available on that one tree. Okay, lot of trees are not there. There is single tree, but that tree has a more biomass. There are lots of leaves on that. Okay, biomass mean like I've told you on that day as well that it's related to like how much volume do you have, if you have a bigger volume or a lesser volume. So yes, if there are more number of trees, there is more volume to eat, more number to eat. Okay. Okay, sycamore trees produces flower that are insect pollinated. Mean they need some factor or they need some vector. Suggest two features of flowers that attract those insects. It's an easy one, by the way. Okay, nectar, nectar. A second thing, bright color. Good, bright color petals, nectar. Okay, state the type of cell division that produce pollen grains. Yeah. Okay. I guess you'll be able to do these questions. Let's discuss one or two. I guess here we have, yes, a calculation work, and here we have what else? Okay, some plants. Let's discuss question number 35 and question number 36. Okay, okay, 35. Some plants can survive extreme dehydration. Means when less water is available, some plants are adapted to withstand that. They start growing again when water is available. They are adapted to survive in deserts. Okay, a species is given and it's written is without water it is brown in color, while when water is available it's green in color. Okay, explain how the change in the plant would help it to grow again after rainfall. Like, okay, so what's in the structure that's keeping it safe? What do you think so? Hmm, it turns green. Hmm. I'm not getting it. Okay, wait. Okay, why do they turn green? First of all, tell me this. They are turning green. Why are they turning green? They're talking about water for now. Okay, okay, wait. Uh, for photosynthesis, plant needs water. So if water is available, there would be photosynthesis. If there is photosynthesis, it means the magnesium are taken in and the plant is turning green. Okay. Due to photosynthesis, there would be production of carbohydrates as well, and moreover, the size has increased. If the size has increased, it means it has larger surface area. Okay. So the larger surface area help it to absorb more light. The green color help it to do photosynthesis. So the changes are that the brown color is converted into green. It's written clearly. Okay. And the leaves which were closed, they are now open. These are the changes that happen. Okay, number two, it shows a cell wall and a nucleus after several months without water. Suggest and explain the appearance of other parts of cell if water is not there. So what do you think? What would be the other part? Isn't is it it's a hypertonic condition, let's say. It's a hypertonic when water is not available. Yes. So we'll make a diagram. Why I'm not able to. Yes. Oh, cytoplasm, not nucleus. Okay? It would be like this. Plasmolysis, shrinking of plant. Cell weight. It's cytoplasm. Yeah, it's cytoplasm. This blue one. Okay? The vacuole would be small. There would be plasmolysis. Uh-huh. Plasmolysis. Second thing is um, vacuole shrink. Cytoplasm shrink. Okay, how many marks are for this one? Four. Then we have to explain this and this. Plasmolysis is the shrinking of cytoplasm since water is not available. While if vacuole shrink, it becomes flaccid, or you can say water. No. Only water will move out. We already have discussed the cell membrane is semi-permeable. Okay. Okay. Let's move to this part now. The question is related to plastics. Okay. These plastics enter ecosystem as pollution. The total mass of the plastic is given, which is 367 million tons. Okay, this is the mass in 2020. Okay, in it is estimated that 3% of the carbon globally each year, it does what? Enters the ocean as plastic ocean. Calculate the total mass of plastic pollution in the ocean. So 3% of 367. So what would be answer? 11.01 million tons. Okay. Oh, have they asked you to write in some scientific form? No, it's no, they haven't asked, but they didn't ask. But if you need to write it in scientific form, then million mean 10 raised to power 6. Okay? If they ask. Okay. If they ask, but they haven't asked it over here, you can write 11.01 million tons. Okay? Okay, B part. Some packaging is made from biodegradable material. So identify microorganisms break down these carbohydrates into smaller molecules. Identify this process. What break down larger molecule into smaller one? Which microorganisms? Decomposers. Give one example of decomposers. Bacteria, fungi. Okay. No, then give a proper one. Bacteria is a prokaryote, right? No, 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 no. Bacteria and fungi. These two are the common